No, I don't think he's gay. I don't think he's gay. All right, video's running. Audio's gonna record in 3, 2, 1. Disco balls.
You said disco balls? 3, 2, 1 disco balls? Was that like cheese for
Yeah,
a
yeah,
camera?
yeah. It was like action. Like we're rolling, but instead of that, mine is disco balls.
Okay. How many disco balls?
2. You
Two,
don't need more than one,
two,
or you don't need more than 2. Two's already a good amount.
2 shiny balls to play with, and you're good to go. I got it.
Mirror balls.
I didn't have a cold open ready.
Mm-hmm. Well, we just came up with one with disco balls and mirror balls. There, boom.
I wish we had recorded our impromptu country song about starting the podcast.
No, we would have lost listeners if we would have started.
We would have gone down to 196 in
I was
Canada.
gonna say, yeah, you fucker. We moved down one rung in what was it? The leisure category.
Yeah, we're very very invested in this now.
We're very leisured.
We don't really care how we're doing in the United States or in general, but like we want our leisure listeners in Canada. And I got to imagine. I think there's 2 guys somewhere in one of those like little like fishing huts on a frozen lake who are listening to the podcast just drunk out of their minds on cheap whiskey, and they're like, these fuckers. No, that's I don't know why I made them Southern. They're in Canada. Like, oh, these fuckers are hilarious, eh?
we got to figure out how we can track that one statistic and just kind of update it every week.
It's important.
Like
I
this
know.
week we moved to 191. Yay! And we get all excited because we moved up 4 spots over some other shitty podcasts.
We start like really aggressive targeted marketing in Canada. I'm sending out physical mail flyers just
Hell yeah!
to homes in rural Manitoba.
That's gotta be the next. Picture for the cover art for the episode. It's gonna be you and me in Mountie uniforms, like riding moose in Canada.
Nice.
We'll have to figure out how that ties into the episode somehow, but that's okay.
Okay. I'm gonna try to put that somewhere in the corner of my mind and work it in later.
You won't have to because we're recording this. You got
No. I'm saying I will try to bring that back later in the episode
okay.
while we're recording. I'll
it.
thematically tie it in if I can. But it's going to be very hard to tie in Canadian Mounties to our next segment because there are many strange creatures, particularly the inhabitants, but there are no moose. I think that's the plural of moose is moose in Florida.
You don't know that, dude. There might be some Floridian dude that owns like 2 pet moose.
You know what? It's Florida. Anything is possible. So on that note, what weird thing happened in Florida this week?
Florida man tried to pay for McDonald's with bag of weed, police say. Police were alerted to Anthony Andrew Gallagher's offer early Sunday morning and got a description of him from the worker. This was December. This is an old article. It's not a recent one.
Okay.
But okay. Anyway.
It just popped up in the forum.
Okay. Port St. Lucie, Florida. Police in Florida say a 23-year-old man went through a McDonald's drive-thru and tried to pay for his order with a bag of marijuana. News outlets report Port St. Lucie police say the fast food worker denied the trade and Anthony Andrew Gallagher drove off, only to return again a short time later. Police arrested him Sunday on charges of marijuana possession and driving under the influence. Police were alerted to Gallagher's offer early Sunday morning and got a description of him from the worker. They say a suspect matching the description went through the drive-thru a little while later and police approached him. It's unclear if Gallagher attempted to pay for his order with drugs a second time. It's also unclear if he has a lawyer.
Oh, no. We've encountered Florida man's rival, his supervillain, Straight Edge.
I was going to say just some McDonald's drive-thru worker.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming Straight Edge will present himself in different guises and places. But who the fuck? I mean, so I'm on Florida man's side on this one so far. It's like he rolls up. He doesn't have money. He's like, hey, bro, do you want to little barter? You give me a Big Mac, I'll give you some weed. We all win.
You know
and
what?
Fucking Straight Edge is like, no, you've offended me, sir.
Yeah, dude. Because if you're if you work at a drive-through place and someone's like willing to give you weed for food that they throw away at the end of the day, they throw away any excess. So the workers could very easily write it off and be like, "Oh no, it got cold and we had to throw it away." So they could have written it off, not gotten in trouble,
or just said no
and gotten
Not called the cops
some
on 'em.
weed. I know. Did you ever Did you ever have any friends or anybody, family that worked like at a fast food joint and then you abused their
Negative. No.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you've told us stories on the podcast about your Wiener Schnitzel days.
Yeah, but I had two friends of mine in high school. They were twins. They were twin girls, and they were attractive. They were cool. They were responsible, like bookwormy type of girls, but they were also very highly either Catholic or Christian, like very into Jesus Christ or whatever. And anyway, it was bizarre to me that like they would come up to us and be like, "Hey, Armando, if you ever want to go through McDonald's drive-through when we're working, we'll give you free shit." I was like, "What?" Like these Christian goody two girls.
How old were you guys at the time?
16, 17 maybe, or maybe 18. Like maybe we were seniors. I don't remember exactly, but
Okay.
like I'd go in there and like buy like a cheeseburger that cost like $1, and they'd give me like 3 McFlurries and a bag full of fries and cheeseburgers and shit. I was like, "Oh wow!"
Dude, it's right in there in the Bible. They're trying to feed the hungry masses. They're like, we're becoming closer to Christ by scamming the fuck out of this McDonald's.
But if someone would offer me weed, I'd be like, "Dude, here's extra free food. Fuck the McDonald's worker. God damn it."
I imagine this McDonald's worker, and I don't know why this makes me highly entertained, of just being like very prim and proper and having a British accent. It's like, "Sir, you have offended my delicate sensibilities. You knave, I would never take illicit drugs in exchange for the fine food of our establishment." Like, and I would lose my mind if I went to a McDonald's and someone had like a really proper British accent doing the checkout. Like, what would you do? That would really weird me out.
If in an American restaurant and I'm going through the drive-through and
No, not a McDonald's.
Oh,
You're specifically in a McDonald's drive-through, and they're just. I mean, I can't do a great British accent, but they're just like, "Hello, sir. May I take your order?" You're like, "What?"
they call French fries over there. They call them crisps.
Would you like some crisps with your hamburger?
That would be funny. That'd be awesome. Well, that was it for Florida Man. By the way, this guy, he looks like a typical 20-some-odd-year-old, like, stoner skater kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like a thug or a criminal or anything. He was just like, "Hey, man, can I get a cheeseburger? You got a gram for you?"
Yeah, and it sounds like, reading between the lines of the story, it sounds like he got money and then came back. He was like, "Oh man, you don't want some weed?
Okay,
My bad, bro. Okay, I'll go to the ATM." And he comes back and is fucking arrested because of this. Because I am straight edge, the
goddamn
sworn enemy of Florida Man.
Fucking narcs.
I will not rest until his nefarious ways have been corralled. Mark my words.
Wow. You get a little carried away sometimes.
I got into it, man. We've been doing Florida Man for how long? We just have established a supervillain for the first time. Let's go.
You know what I want to do? Because we probably only have like, what is our watch count on our YouTube video? Is it like high? Is it like,
no?
Is it in the double digits at all? Like,
oh yeah. So I think the highest was like 20-something.
Oh,
20-something views on one.
Holy shit.
The low. Let me look. I can actually look it up, but no, not too high, but not ridiculously low.
Because what I want to do is I want to start, maybe not every episode, but just like dress goofy. Like how we did for the Halloween episode. That way the people that are watching us get some kind of additional visual bullshit to go with our nonsense jargon.
Wait, what the fuck?
What?
Okay, so I'm looking at the last one we did had 13 views. Episode 59, 6. 58, 14. Episode 57, 5. And then if you go all the way back to episode 53, we had 125 views.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was just because the name. We named it Sex Files.
Is that what we named? Oh, but yeah.
Yeah, we were reviewing Sex Education, and Scully, a.k.a. Gillian Anderson, was in it. But something about that title just sort of like maybe a little bit clickbaity. People are like, "Wait, sex? What?
God
Sex
damn it.
files?"
Oh man. So I mean we gotta spam like the title of our episode so like it draws viewers, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, I think the other thing though, if we could tighten up some of the reviews, like where the reviews are a little bit more formatted, it's a little bit less off the cuff, and it is about shows that have like just come out, aka hot guy slash hot guy. That's
You're giving up the
cut.
fucking
I didn't said nothing. I said nothing. You got plug your ears.
horrible.
Plug your ears, children.
Horrible.
But if we posted those as just individual videos, I think we'd probably get a lot more than 14 views.
Yeah, that requires work.
In this next segment of the Degenerates Clubhouse, which we've titled "Workshopping Our Podcast and Internet Views." This is the most exciting part for all our listeners.
Yeah, he's behind the scenes.
You're welcome. But you know what is, I think, probably a slightly more entertaining segment than workshopping our internet views? Oh, you don't like that segment?
No, I don't like the transition. It's hard to transition from a guy going through a drive-through selling weed to going to Reddit.
Yeah, we were just getting a little off topic, so I was steering it back to Ask Reddit.
Yeah. I think I could have pulled it off if you'd given me like a second. Oh, yeah. So Ask Reddit question number 1. What the fuck? What was your... Ask Reddit question number 1. What was your biggest fuck I'm getting old moment? And how that would have transitioned is my example. Maybe sort of kind of.
You're doing perfect so far. Keep going.
So, it used to be when I was younger and kind of had a better digestive system. Better, I could eat a bunch of shit, wolf it down. And famously, I was able to, when I was in like my peak, youthful age, I could eat. Tommy's burgers, the cheeseburgers at Tommy's.
I do not.
Dude, they're like.
Who is this Tommy you speak of?
I think they're only a West Coast, maybe even like Southern California. Like
it's a restaurant.
It's kind of like an In-N-Out, but with most of their items featuring the chili cheese. So you get chili cheeseburgers, and then they weigh like 5 pounds or something. It's ridiculous, but they're fucking good. Anyway, I used to be able to eat 2 chili cheeseburgers, an order of chili cheese fries, and a large drink, and like eat that and like be like fine, like agile, lithe, can walk around for like I could do a backflip. But
I'm sorry. When was this time in your life where you could do a backflip?
Probably like 17, 18 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I just missed it. If I had met you two years earlier, you'd have been doing backflips.
Yep.
I missed out on peak Armando.
It was
already the decline. Dang.
It was all the Tommy's chili burgers that made me less.
Completely makes sense. I'm on board. Continue.
So yeah, that was probably so. And then getting older, going back and be like, I'm really craving a Tommy's chili cheeseburger right about now. I'd go and order like 1 chili cheeseburger and 1 chili cheese fries and the drink. I'd eat like half the burger, half the fries, and then be like, okay, I'm fucking stuffed. Like I can't eat anymore. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's probably like the biggest fuck I'm getting old moment for me. Is just like realizing like, oh, now I have to start watching what I eat. I have to eat vegetables and not eat like a fucking caveman. Just eat all this greasy fast food shit. That's the biggest fuck I'm getting old moment for me.
Got it. Well, then I will skip digestive related things. And the one for me is, this was, I guess, this past year. I was in a doctor's office getting my hip looked at, and even when I was younger, senior year of high school, all through college, I kind of knew like, all right, I'm gonna pay for some of the stuff I'm doing to my body later. Playing sports, I was always just really sore and beat up. And my thought was like, oh, in 15 to 20 years, there'll be huge medical advancements.
I'm like, I could fix it later.
I thought there would be some repercussions, but I did not have a great sense of how bad it might be.
Yeah.
Because I figured clearly someone would tell me to stop doing this. This being playing college lacrosse, all that sort of stuff. It was really bad for me. Like I'm seeing doctors, I'm seeing trainers. No one said, hey, maybe don't do this because you will run into some major problems down the line. And yeah, this past year, I went to see a doctor about my hip. We discussed this before, but I didn't think he was going to say anything was that bad. I thought he might say maybe I needed minor surgery, maybe physical therapy. And he looks at it and he's like, okay, we can try, one of two procedures, but if that doesn't work, I mean, you're looking at a hip replacement. He's like, you're at your last stop before a hip replacement. I was like, what? And when I even gave him the slightest inclination that I might be considering a hip replacement, he's like, oh, if I was in your shoes, like, that's probably what I would do, and I would do the ceramic, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy fucking shit, dude, we're talking about a hip replacement.
Yeah.
I am still in my 30s. I mean, barely, but I'm in
Yeah.
my 30s where I'm talking about getting a hip replacement with a doctor. I'm old. Like, am I going to need a walker soon? Like, this is fucking nuts. I'm an old man.
Can I just add another fuck I'm getting old moment for me?
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably like 2 or 3 years ago. I started noticing like I'll get like white hairs in my nostril. Like I'd get whiskers on my mustache and on my beard, and like that's okay. And then like your head, right? You start going gray at the top of your head. What little hair I did have is getting gray. I was like, fuck. But then when I noticed like a white nose hair, I was like, fuck, that sucks.
I remember when I got my first gray hair, like on my head. I mean, I don't have many. I actually have quite a few in my beard now, but not my head. I mean, I'm shaving my head mostly.
Yeah.
But I had one on my head, and it was we were at a practice in Cleveland, spring. It was at this like high school field because we had shitty fields at that point, and like one of the girls on the team saw it and started freaking out. She's like, "Oh my god, Jeffy, you have a gray hair. You have a gray." I'm like, "It's fine. Like we all get older. Like Kelly, you might have actually given me that gray hair. Like that's from you, Kelly." And she's like, "No, I have to pull it out. I have to pull it out." And she was like, legitimately, not panicking, but I could see the anxiety in her eyes. I'm like, "Okay, Kelly, pull out the gray hair." She pulled it out. I'm like, "You feel better?" She's like, "Yeah." So it was weird that she definitely got way more worked up about that than I did.
Your players called you Jaffe? They didn't call you like Coach Aaron, or they just called you Jaffe?
Most of them called me Jaffe. I remember one called me Air Bear at that school.
Air Bear. That's funny.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what other users' answers are on Reddit for that question. User Waste a Space writes, getting my rocks off to MILF porn and realizing that the women are about my age. Dude, no joke. This is what's fucked up. I'm not saying I look, I think I look okay for my age. I'm 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like all these dating apps or whatever I'm on, like all the chicks that are 40, like my age.
Some of them look rough.
Oh, dude. It's like, holy, like I did something right. I don't look that horrible, I think. I hope. But some of these broads look pretty fucked up.
There's a weird range though, like because there's some women in their late 40s where it's like, wow, did you just run your face like through a gravel driveway for the last 10 years? But some look amazing. I'm like you could be like late 20s.
Yeah, that's true. There was one at King Supers the other day. From behind, I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't be looking at her. Her body is way too tight. I'm thinking she's like mid-20s. I'm like kind of like trying to avert my eyes. And then she turned around and I go, oh, this is a woman my age with the tight body.
Well, that was one good thing to remember for me. Because I remember when I first started doing the dating stuff, I was like, man, I definitely do not look as good as I did when I was younger. I'm older, like I'm shaving my head, like I'm definitely not as in good shape as I was. And then I was like, oh wait, but they're also looking at photos of guys my age. I probably have held up better than those guys did. Because I'm comparing, like, I don't look great for someone who's like 24.
Yeah.
But okay. I guess what I'm saying is it's all relative.
Yeah.
And to these MILFs who hit the gym, they're doing their yoga, they're doing their squats. God bless you.
Yeah,
you're doing God's work. We support you.
Hell yeah.
You can do it. You can do it, women.
You have a friend in me and Aaron. The Degenerates are giving you 2 thumbs up.
And we would like to have a friend in you.
Yeah. Me. User Admirable-Tackle4927 writes.
And by friend, Armando means his penis.
My penis. Admirable Tackle.
Consensually.
Yeah. Every
Not in Walmart.
every day when I get in and out of my car and make dad noises.
I understand what he's talking about.
Do you do that? Do you like get out of bed and go like I know I do that. I catch myself doing it. I'm like, oh fuck. I just made a like noise that I didn't need to make, like a grunting or exerting noise. I'm like,
Not to. I have to be really, really sore to do that because my dad does that all the time, constantly. It's just like, dude, stop.
I think I do it just to try
Please.
to like make myself laugh, but it doesn't work because my body's getting beat up. Let's see what other answers. Okay, user Dark as Darkness Night writes, probably the first time I had a boss who was younger than me. That was depressing as fuck.
Mm.
Right now, my boss is he's not my boss. My direct supervisor right now is much older than me, but the branch manager at my branch is like 26, 27 years old. He's a young dude, so that feels kind of weird that he's like he's the branch manager. He's a good kid. I think that's all I'm gonna read for Reddit question.
He's a fine type.
He's a fine lad.
He's a little rascal.
That was it for Reddit question number 1. Reddit question number 2. What did you not understand until you experienced it? Aaron, do you want to start this one or do you want me to go with this?
Yeah, I do have one for this. I've only had one, but I did not understand what the deal was with panic attacks until I had one. Because I remember thinking, like, you hear about people having panic attacks, like nervous breakdowns. I remember thinking, like, dude, just fucking suck it up, right? Like, yeah, it's bad, but like, just pull yourself together. You know, you're freaking out about something like that isn't helping. And the best way I can describe what it feels like is, if you ever, I'm trying to think what movie this would be, but like there's like a movie, right, where like a submarine or something, or maybe like some sort of spaceship has gotten hit and it's like going down, and so you're like in the submarine and there's like the siren going off, like brr, brr, and there's like gauges popping off and steam flying out, and it's like the whole thing is just in complete disarray. That's sort of what your mind and also your body, like you can't control your breathing, you can't control your heart rate, like your whole body is just fucking flipping out like it's a sinking submarine that's been hit by a torpedo, and there's just no being like rational, oh, I'm just gonna calm down, let me deal with this, I'll deal with A, B, C, we'll sort this out. Like your whole body and your mind are just in this complete submarine panic mode, and you can't stop it.
I've fortunately I've never had like crazy anxiety or panic attacks. I mean, there's been plenty of times in my life where I felt super stressed out, but not like where, I'm freaking out. I had a cousin that had some stuff happen to her, and she would get like panic attacks. Unfortunately, I've never seen her suffer one, so hopefully she's good now. But
The only one I had it was driving to the airport, and this was when I was having some of my worst physical problems, and all this stuff started racing through my head. It's like, oh no, how bad is it gonna hurt? Will I be able to make it through?
You're talking about like being in the airplane,
because I was gonna have to sit down for 3 hours at a time or something, and like, I mean, at that point, 5 minutes, and I would start to not be able to see clearly. I'd be legitimately worried if I was gonna pass out, and yeah, the pain, that was an issue. I remember I had thoughts. I'm like, okay, what if I do pass out? Like, where am I gonna wake up? Like, will I wake up on the plane? Will they have taken me off? Will they have to take me to a hospital? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, and all those thoughts just started racing so fast. And then there was a little fear of like, how bad is this gonna hurt? And like, yeah, my whole mind and body was just like, fuck this, which was not ideal because I was driving down not the turnpike. It would have been, I can't remember what highway it was, but like, so I managed to get my car off on the side of the road. I was like, just like hyperventilating, like couldn't control my breathing. It was fucked up.
Aaron, have you ever been in a plane?
Yeah, many times. Probably more than you.
Have you ever been in a plane on weed?
How would you put a plane on top of weed?
I know you hate like not anything any drug. that makes you feel like you don't have control. I know you don't like that feeling of loss of control, so I never like drinking or doing the the yerba mate, the real the real green stuff. Um, yeah, it's too bad you never really like enjoyed it, 'cause I think it might relieve some of that.
I did. Well, no. So marijuana doesn't actually makes anxiety worse for me, not better. But
You're not doing it right.
I did take marijuana, smuggle marijuana from California back to Pennsylvania on a plane when I was in college. I don't remember why I was bringing it back, but I remember I put it. There were like there's kind of like tubes of like M&M candies, and like I remember I emptied the M&Ms out. I put the weed at the bottom, and I put M&Ms on top, and we were taking off, and there was like a kid who was really nervous, and I was like, oh yeah, I have the M&M. I was like, do you want an M&M? And
He's like, "What's this green stuff?"
well, no, like I said, it was at the bottom, but it was only after I realized I gave it to him. I'm like, fuck, I wonder if the M&M smelled like weed, because there's M&Ms on top, weed at the bottom.
Did you just give him some from the top of the container, or did you give him the whole container and be like,
No,
"Here,
no,
have
I
some?"
just gave him like I just shook a couple from the top of the
Oh,
container.
I was
out.
like, damn, you gave him the container. You're like, fuck, that kid's gonna go home and he's gonna get in trouble with his parents or something.
No, I just gave him like one or two.
All right, so anxiety attacks or panic attacks was the one.
Did not get it until the one time I experienced it.
For me, what I did not understand until I experienced it is being at a live football game with you, like when you're going to your home, your team's home game, right? Like the first time I went to San Diego to Qualcomm Stadium to see the Chargers play when I was a kid, it was like like I've been to Dodger games. I've been to Dodger games and like it doesn't have as much. It doesn't have the same magic effect as like going to my first NFL game. Maybe because
It's
like
baseball.
well, no, I think maybe, but I also think the fact that like football, you go to the tailgate experience where like baseball, there used to be tailgating at Dodger Stadium, but tailgating for us as kids wasn't as fun because we weren't drinking, we weren't doing all that kind of naughty, mischievous stuff that you're not supposed to, that you can get away with as when you're an adult,
Eating M&Ms.
eating M&Ms. Whereas going to the football game, it's like, holy shit. Also, I think what attributed to the experience being crazy for me is that like I'm the only Chargers fan in my like all of my family. Most of my family are all Cowboys fans. So to me, going to a Chargers game where I'm like, oh crap, these fans like the team I like, also made the experience more heightened for me. And
Oh, you got the tribal experience.
yeah, it felt really cool. And then like just kind of, and then just bumping into randoms in the
Did you
tailgate.
paint your face?
No, I didn't. No,
You're not doing it right. You got to go
No.
full Braveheart mode
no.
for the tribal experience.
I don't know if I would ever get like true fanatic and go like I wear a jersey. That's about it. But when I go to a game or a hat, if it's a Dodger game or something, but and I'm going to the Chargers Broncos game, so that's gonna be a fun experience. Being that I'm like I'm a visitor, but I'm at home. My team's a visiting team playing here in Denver.
Well, fortunately, it's Denver, and the Broncos fans are just, to me, abnormally polite. I grew up in Philadelphia,
Yeah.
where if you're like the one lone fan from the opposing team, like you gotta be aware of stuff flying at the back of your head if you cheer, things like that. And Broncos fans they're just like so nice and optimistic, even when their team sucks. So I don't think you really have anything to worry about here.
Yeah, I've heard that there's some like diehard Broncos fans, but I don't think I'm at risk of getting into like a fight when I'm at a Broncos game, right? Where if you go to like the Dodger game, like careful what you say and who you say it to, because you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're diehard. It's just it's a different energy than I'm accustomed to from the East Coast.
Yeah, it should be fun. Some of the answers on Reddit. Crippling back pain. Have had to crawl on all fours to the bathroom and couldn't stand up to even pee. I've never had that happen to me. You've had neck and spine stuff and hip stuff. User Lord-Ag writes, the horrible pain kidney stones cause. Still don't know how the fuck my father survived this 5 times. Yeah, I've never had to pass a stone. My brother's had to have his gallbladder removed because he had like really bad gallstones at a really young age. But that's because he was, I think, eating the same super greasy food that he and I both grew up with, but he was also doubling it up by eating or by drinking like 1 or 2 Monsters every day. That's not good.
No. Yeah, I had a friend who had gallstones, and he went once when he was having kind of an attack to an urgent care, and they thought he was a junkie. So and they just sort of shuffled him along, like they thought he was trying to get pain prescription pills, and then he just refused to go back to a doctor again. So he when he was having passing stones, he would just go into his room and just try to drink like hard alcohol to numb it, and he did that for months.
Ugh, that's not good.
No. Kids, go to the doctor, and if they're a shitty doctor and they think you're on drugs, go to a different doctor. Do not self-medicate with hard liquor. That is not a substitute.
Man, some of these other answers on Reddit are pretty depressing. I don't want to read these other ones. They're fucking like downers.
Then let's skip it and let's
Yeah.
move on to something
Yeah.
a little bit cheerier.
That was it for Reddit. Thanks, Reddit. We appreciate your questions and answers.
I just wanted to give you a heads up. See, I was trying to give you the opportunity to do the transition this time
No.
because you made fun of me last time. And I just want to say right now, you are killing it, my friend.
No,
You're
no,
on
no.
top of it. Keep going, please.
So, new on Netflix. This one's Heron. Have you seen Hot Guy?
And just to be clear, how are you pronouncing that?
Hot Guy.
Are you saying Hawkeye, the Marvel
No,
movie?
no. Hot, Hot, Guy, Guy. Hot
Oh.
Guy.
Oh, you mean the other superhero film,
Yeah.
Hot Guy?
Yeah.
That's actually like a really distant sequel to Zoolander. You remember Zoolander?
Yeah. Zoolander 1, Zoolander 2.
Yeah, that was
What was his look called? It was called like Magnum.
well, there was two. There's Blue Steel,
Blue Steel.
and then he was developing Magnum.
There you go. I remember Magnum. Blue Steel.
Fuck, wait, what's the actor's name now? I'm blanking on it. Ben
Ben Stiller.
Stiller. There we go.
How
I kept
dare
wanting
you.
to say Ben Schwartz. I'm like, no, that. Oh, that's actually part. See, and that's the trick. So what happens is, Hot Guy is a model / superhero,
Okay.
and he's Zoolander's son
Oh.
in the future.
Oh.
Except he's gotten so really ridiculously super good looking that his superpower is when he does. So there was Blue Steel, there was Magnum. I think he had Latigra, which was in there, which was just the same as Blue Steel.
Really? I don't remember that one.
But the look that that Hot Guy, the superhero Hot Guy develops, I thought this was gonna be easier. No, 100%. The look that he develops, it's not Blue Steel, it's not Magnum, it's not Latigra. It's extra spicy.
It's called Extra Spicy?
It's called. Actually, how would you say extra spicy in Spanish?
I don't know.
No, that's not how you say it.
I don't know how to say spicy.
How do you spicy? You don't know how to say spicy?
Let me think about it.
What type of? I'm shocked.
No, you know what? When you want the way we refer, or the way it's been referred to, when something is spicy, they refer to it as like, oh, that's spicy.
Yeah.
So like my grandmother would say like, eso pica, o pica mucho el chile. Like pica means like it hits you.
No. Pico mucho. That's his look. You know what? I thought it was gonna sound cooler, but that's what we're fucking going with. Shut up. That's what it's called. And the crazy part, that's why I got confused in the beginning, is Zoolander's son, Zoolander played by Ben Stiller, is actually Ben Schwartz.
Oh.
If you're familiar with Ben Schwartz,
Yeah.
he had
He's funny.
a character on Parks and Rec.
Yep.
He was one of the voices in DuckTales, which he's very proud of.
Really?
Yep.
Well, it's got to be the current iteration of DuckTales, right? Not the
Yeah,
old one.
they made a new
Okay.
DuckTales,
All right.
which is, by the way, one of the funniest interview moments ever. This is a little bit of a side tangent, but Danny Pudi, who was Abed Nadir on the show Community, was also one of the voices on DuckTales. And to promote the show, they had him go on Larry King Live. And, Larry King's, I don't know, he's 176 years old now?
Yeah.
And he's asking him questions. So he's like, so Danny, what's a luxury that you couldn't live without? And Danny Pudi's like, I don't know. I like really nice socks, like socks that, like really good socks that keep my feet comfy. And Larry King's like, what are you talking, socks? That's not a luxury, Danny. What what do you? He's like, what's something else? And he's like, oh, I like really good kind of coffee, like really nice expensive coffee. And Larry's like, coffee? What are you talking about? Like, you can get coffee anywhere. Coffee's not a luxury. And he's like, okay, Larry, I don't know. Help me out. What's like a luxury that I should get? And he's like, Larry King's like, I don't know, private jet. And there's just this pause, and Danny Pudi goes, Larry, I'm on DuckTales. That was a pretty good recreation. If you take anything away from Hot Guy, starring Ben Schwartz, is that you should go watch this interview between Danny Pudi and Larry King, because that was one of the funniest internet moments I've ever seen. But yeah, so essentially, Ben Schwartz, the progeny of Zoolander, is so really, 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 really ridiculously good looking that his new look can actually freeze people in their place.
Oh.
Like, they can't move, like they're paralyzed, which is a super strong power. And the villains have dual plans of both how to make him less attractive, so he won't be able to freeze them, and then also how to combat that look with a series of elaborate mirrors. I don't want to spoil too much.
Oh.
But like Funhouse mirrors are Hot Guy's biggest weakness. Superman has kryptonite, and Hot Guy has like fluorescent lighting and Funhouse mirrors. Fluorescent lighting is actually Hot Guy's biggest weakness, because no one looks good in bathroom fluorescent lights. You go into a bathroom and you're like, holy shit, am I 80 years old? That's actually the other wow, I'm getting old moment, was when you see yourself in like a bad lighting and just like a cheap bathroom, like a McDonald's bathroom. Maybe perhaps you went into McDonald's, you tried to purchase some food and pay for it in weed, and they're like, get the fuck out. You're like, all right, I'm going to go to the bathroom. You go in the bathroom, turn on the fluorescent lights, and you look at yourself, you're like, holy shit, I'm 80 years old. This is my I'm getting old moment. It's all coming back together, and you go home, and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go home to my house in Florida and just console myself and contemplate my mortality while I'm petting my pet moose, because they have them in Florida. Fuck. Complete circle. Basically what I'm saying is this show is amazing. If you like Zoolander, you will love Hot Guy starring Ben Schwartz, the superhero model. I give it fuck, I was trying to think of something fashion related. I just give it a 10 out of 10. It's a 10.
Can I just say that this segment of new on Netflix featuring Hot Guy,
Yeah,
has got to be the toughest one to date to follow, because you went like in a spiral. Like, you didn't go in a circle, you went like in a spiral with a zigzag in the middle of it, and then back to a moose somehow.
that was, you remember you were talking about the mooses in Florida.
No, I get it. But what I'm saying is how you got there was like.
I had some callbacks that I didn't intend on having, and then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. We're doing callbacks on everything. I was Oprah in that moment. You get a callback, and you get a callback, and you get a callback.
All right, Oprah. Okay, so what's the real show that you are suggesting on whatever, Netflix or Hulu or whatever?
It is on Disney Plus.
Disney Plus.
This is going to be a review of Disney Plus's hot. Fuck, I can't even say it right. Cut. We're going to take two. Clap. This is going to be a review of Disney Plus's Hot Guy. Not to be confused with the fictional show Hot Guy, starring the son of Derek Zoolander, who's now become a model/superhero. That show's a lot better. I was not as enamored with Hawkeye as I was with Hot Guy. Do you have some questions about the first episode? So right now, if you want to catch Hawkeye, there are 2 episodes out on Disney Plus.
I like how you're like having to enunciate Hawkeye, so it doesn't sound like you're saying hot guy.
Well, that was
like, you're being very careful now. You're like, I don't want to say hot guy. I want to say Hawkeye.
And that was the origin of that last segment. Armando was saying Hawk Eye, and I just heard hot guy.
Yeah.
That's very close.
Exactly. So, you got the same Jeremy whatever Renner, right?
Correct.
Is reprising his role as Hawkeye. See, even I have to like enunciate now, so it doesn't sound like I'm saying Hawkeye.
It's tricky.
And then you and I talked about how Haley Steinfeld, whatever.
Steinfeld.
Sure, she's in the show. Is she any good? I mean, is it so far, only having watched one episode, is the show based more on like is it centralized more on Hawkeye or her character?
So far, if you're purely speaking about screen time,
Yeah.
there's a lot more time that has been devoted to her character, Kate Bishop. So there's a whole sequence in the beginning where it's like a very condensed origin story where you see a young Kate Bishop played by a child actor. And then I would say probably 80% of the show has been Haley Steinfeld's Kate Bishop, at least in the first episode, which makes sense because they're banking on people knowing every little bit of Marvel lore and trivia, and they've seen Hawkeye in multiple movies. Like, you kind of know his backstory, I guess, but they have to introduce a whole new character. So it does make sense that they would devote more attention to her in the first episode.
So where in if there was a timeline, where does this Hawkeye show kind of more or less sort of kind of not really take place? Like there's the
it takes place after Endgame.
Okay, so after Thanos is done, after Thanos did the snap, and then they brought everybody back to life and all that shit. Okay.
Yeah, so there is a reference to, spoiler alert, Black Widow dying. He's still a little shooken up from that. So this is post Endgame events. They've saved the world. And speaking of poorly lit bathrooms, there is one part where Hawkeye is in a bathroom and he sees like little graffiti, like someone wrote with a Sharpie on a toilet. Thanos was right, and he's like, fuck. So they're still referencing that, and it is a continuation post Endgame.
You've only seen one episode, but what is there already kind of an idea? Is there like one villain throughout the entire series, or is it like one villain in each episode?
No villain has been established yet.
Okay,
so it looks like it will be episodic, because they ended episode 1 on, I wouldn't even want to call it a cliffhanger, where Haley Steinfeld's character Kate Bishop is first meeting Hawkeye.
Oh, so that's how the episode kind of ends.
So
they're meeting for the first time, or somewhere in the beginning of.
Correct.
Huh. I know Linda Cardellini is in it again. Oh man, she's so hot, right? Because she plays Clint Barnes' wife, Hawkeye's wife.
I mean, she had maybe one line of dialogue in it.
That's all right. I don't care about her dialogue. I just want to see her pretty face.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't really get to see her very much.
Oh,
I think she's not featured. So, yeah, and kind of on that note, the scene where you do see her is when they call her from a restaurant, and it's Hawkeye. Hawkeye is taking his children out to a Broadway show, and then they're eating at a restaurant, and they're talking about all the fun Christmas things they're gonna do, and then they call mom, and he's like, these kids are driving me crazy, and then she's like, oh, it's fine, Clint, and then he hangs up, and I that was the first moment where, like, oh my god,
kind of cringe.
Yeah, I feel like the writers were just pulling dialogue out of really bad Hallmark like holiday movies and recycling it into this show, where I'm like, Marvel, what are you doing? Stop it, please.
So far, that's something, the common theme I've been noticing, because it's all stuff on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything they've done, every Marvel or Star Wars thing that's come out on Disney Plus has toned, like they're playing towards like attracting younger, like kids, and making it very kid friendly. And I kind of wish they wouldn't do that with the Marvel. I kind of wanted them to just keep that stuff a little more adult, even though it's comic book shit, but still keep it a little more adult based.
Well, in terms of tone, and I thought Loki was fine. I didn't have a problem with Loki in that
Loki
regard.
was great. I love Loki. Tom Hiddleston's amazing.
But this was at a level that I had not seen before. I mean, literally, Hawkeye is sitting at a restaurant and he's like, "All right, kids, we're gonna do all the fun holiday stuff. What's your favorite holiday thing?"
Yeah.
The kid's like, "I like building gingerbread houses. What's your holiday thing?" Oh, what did she want to do? I can't remember. And then the oldest kids is like, uh, goofy holiday sweaters. And I'm like, is this what?
Yeah.
What is happening right now? Please
Yeah.
stop it. And yeah, there are a lot of just really bad lines of dialogue. I remember in the very beginning when you're seeing kind of the Kate Bishop origin story, the young Kate Bishop is listening on our parents arguing, and then they realize the dad realizes she's listening, goes up and he's like, it's like, what have I told you about eavesdropping? And she's like, yeah, but then how am I going to know what you guys are saying? And for my first thought was like, wow, you're going to work for the government one day. But my second thought, I'm like, this is just really hacky dialogue. Come on, Disney Plus, do better.
So far in the Marvel universe, how many shows have they've done? Hawkeye, right? And then they did
Falcon Winter Soldier,
WandaVision, Loki. That's 4.
and What If?
What If? And I feel like there's got to be 1 or 2 more, right? Or is that it for Marvel?
I think that was it so far.
Okay. Of those 5, you haven't seen What If, so we'll take What If off the list.
Mhm.
Of those 4, you've seen all 4 of those,
Mhm.
right? And then where does Hawkeye fit as far as like worst to best in that?
Oh, it is
scale?
like a distant last right now.
Really?
I mean,
What's second worst for you?
it's a little bit tough. For me, I like Loki head and shoulders better than anything else. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision, there were things that I liked and disliked about both of them. So like I almost have those two kind of tied. Whereas like I thought the pacing in WandaVision was a little bit too long, whatever. I like the fact that they were trying something different. There was like a lot more character development. It was just something different than your standard Marvel fare. Whereas it felt to me like Falcon Winter Soldier was just a very long Marvel movie that was sort of like, I'm like, yeah, this is fine. Like, this is enjoyable enough. But I don't really felt like they took advantage of that longer format. I mean, they got some more character development. And so to me, those were both completely watchable. I enjoyed them. Neither one was something that I was going to rush, to see in the next episode or anything like that. But after this first episode of Hawkeye, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
That sucks.
Hawkeye. And you know what? Maybe it's just me being overly critical. Maybe I think if someone doesn't mind some of the hacky stuff, they're like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it. This is a Marvel like Christmas series. Like it's cool. They might be able to enjoy it, and it's possible, completely possible. Maybe it gets a lot better, right? Because so far, this is just episode 1. They did have to do a lot of character establishment, right? Like we had to establish the backstory for this Kate Bishop character, and that took a lot of time. Like,
how long are the episodes?
I think they're 50-something minutes. Like,
so they're a whole hour. They're a full because there's been the 30-minute ones and then there's been the longer ones.
Yeah, they're longer. So,
and for a longer one to do an entire first episode based off of like just kind of character development stuff on the girl, like and there's been no villain established. Like, is there like a crisis? Like, is there anything going on that's like kind of driving the plot at all at this point, or is it just kind of like, here's this new chick, she's gonna be Hawkeye's sidekick, or something like that? I don't even know if that's the dynamic. It could be, fighting each other for all I know.
So episode 1 was 49 minutes long. Like I said, the very beginning was the sort of Kate Bishop character. You know what? If you're listening at this point, we were going to go into complete spoiler episodes, or not spoiler episodes, episode spoilers. Wow, I just got verbal dyslexia for a second there. Episode spoilers, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that happened. Mondo, trust me, I'm not ruining it for you. Yeah, like the first bit was sort of establishing where both of the characters were, right? So you're getting her whole backstory. You find out that she came from an ostensibly rich family. Like, they lived in a really, really nice apartment in New York City. And when the whole Battle of New York, Loki portal, the Chitauri are coming in. She was living close to the Avengers Tower, and the apartment that she was living in gets destroyed, and her father dies.
Ooh.
And like, as far as I can tell, her whole backstory is she like looks out the window and sees Hawkeye fighting the Chitauri, and she's like, "That's cool. I want to." and like, this is where I'm talking about just ultimate levels of hackiness, where they're at the dad's funeral, and she says something to mom. She's like, "I couldn't protect you." And the mom's like, "No, I'm supposed to protect you, and I'll give you anything you need." And she's like, "Okay, I need a bow and arrow." I'm like, holy! And then she kind of like smiles. I'm like, "What?" She is at her father's funeral.
Yeah.
Like, this is not. I get you're trying to do the cute, campy thing, Marvel, but this is not the proper arena to do this in right now. Jesus Christ! And then there's like another scene where she's at a college, and you don't even really understand. You've established that she's on the archery team at her college. I'm like, okay, this has to be an Ivy League school, and she wants to shoot an arrow to ring the bell on this bell tower, and then she like shoots it and it rings, but the bell falls off, and then like the whole tower collapses, and then then she gets like caught by a security guard, and she's in a lot of trouble. And I remember thinking like, okay, I understand, again, we're doing the kind of campy, like, fun thing, but Jesus Christ, if there is a tower at your school where if the bell just rings a little bit from an arrow with a tennis ball on it and the entire tower collapses, this was gross negligence on the school's part. Like, there should be lawsuits. Like, she did you guys a favor. I mean, that whole thing could have just collapsed if there was a strong breeze that came along. Someone falls.
So wait, so she doesn't have like a super, because Hawkeye has like a robotic arm or some shit, and he's just
he
like
does?
yeah, he's got like
I thought that was the Winter Soldier had a robotic arm.
Maybe all I know is
I thought that's the whole kind of the joke about Hawkeye is he's just a normal guy with a fucking bow and arrow.
So like, for example, I just finished watching the What If thing, right? And I understand What If is like different universes.
Correct.
But the episode that I saw that he was in, it was like a artificial arm of some sort, like a prosthetic of some sort.
I
know Winter Soldier for sure.
Yes. I don't think he does, but regardless, she definitely has no superpowers.
She's just a chick that's really good at archery
and does karate tournaments or something.
Oh.
There was another scene where she comes back from school and her mom is mad at her because she's like, "I'm gonna have to pay for this tower that you destroyed." Where again, I'm like, she rang the bell. There should have been multiple lawsuits. I mean, if this was truly a rich person, she would have been countersuing the school for negligence and tied them up in court. Rich people don't just give money away like that. That's how they become rich people. That's a whole different story. But she's like, "Well, on the bright side, Mom, look, I won another martial arts tournament." And I was like, what? Like, come on, guys. I mean, there are characters like Black Widow, Hawkeye, who don't have superpowers, but it's like Black Widow was this Russian trained spy, and she went through this intense programming and everything. And so far as I can tell, Kate Bishop was on an archery team, and she just like, I don't know. They don't even say what martial arts. It was a nondescript martial arts tournament where she just sort of trains. Where like, I don't know if that really prepares you to fight supervillains. I'm not really on board with what's going on right now, Marvel.
Oh man, I'm still gonna have to watch it when I could fucking find it. I'm gonna have to watch it anyways.
But to get to your question, she is surprised by her mother, having come back from college for the holidays, that her mother is now engaged to some guy. Who's the son of some kind of dickish rich dude, and her mom wants her to accompany her to some sort of benefit, gala event. And while the gala event is going on, there's some sort of black market auction going down in a wine cellar, and the rich guy and the mom's fiance are down there bidding on like stolen Avengers memorabilia.
Oh,
and like they're bidding on, what was it, Ronin. So there was a segment where not a segment. There's a part where Hawkeye was no longer the good guy Hawkeye. He was Ronin, and he was a vigilante. Fighting the Japanese Yakuza, which I remember having that pop back up. I'm like, oh right, that was the thing that they mentioned in the Marvel movies, where he became this like different character, and he was trying to, I forget why he was hell bent on bringing down the Japanese mafia, and I was like, wow, maybe they should have made the show based on that.
Yeah.
Because come to think of it, I would love to see that show.
Yeah.
I don't really know about Hawkeye the Christmas Carol. But so they bid on Ronin's sword. He had a collapsible sword, which I looked at the physics of this sword. I'm like, I do not understand how this works. Like, it's a little handle, and then a huge sword just pops out of the handle. I'm like, okay, that out of all my complaints about this series so far, that's the least of it. I'm just gonna not think about it. But while this whole auction is going on, some robbers who are looking for a Avengers themed watch explode a wall, and Haley Steinfeld's reaction is like, oh, I know, I should steal the Ronin costume, put it on, and then I will go fight them.
That's why the costume looked familiar to me, because in watching the one trailer, I was like, I know there was the Ronin thing, but then there was also, like, in the Marvel universe, there was one like called like the Black Bolt, but if I remember correctly, the Black Bolt was more like the powers came from the universe shit. Like it was like a superpower that came and made him the Black Bolt. It wasn't just like some archer person.
She has no superpowers, and I you know what, I can say this. Speaking as someone who has had martial arts training, I cannot imagine a world where armed robbers explode a wall, and my thought is, oh, I should put on a costume and fight them, because my martial arts training has definitely prepared me to take on multiple assailants with guns. That is not something that was ever covered at Factory X jiu-jitsu classes.
Well, that sucks that you didn't enjoy it. Were there any other big name actors or actresses that were in it that I don't know about?
No, I none that I noticed, but I do want to touch on one highlight of the episode, and I felt it because I have gone to some good New York musicals. You and I went to Avenue Q. Loved that, but I also went to Rent and walked out of it. And the musical that Hawkeye brings his children to, I believe, was called Rogers, and it is a musical about Captain America and the Avengers, and it was so ridiculously cheesy, and that was a part of campiness and cheesiness. I'm like, yes, bravo, Marvel screenwriters. Like, this is the time to be a little bit self-deprecating, and Hawkeye's just watching this with this, like, can someone please just put a bullet in my head right now? Which I understood that feeling. I could relate. And there was this part where I'm like, yeah, they would never make a musical this bad on Broadway. And then I remembered, oh my God, they actually made a Spider-Man the musical. That was a real thing. It was apparently terrible, like an absolute train wreck. And they were trying to do all these stunt work things in the midst of the musical that just didn't work. And so that actually made it a little bit extra funny to me. And that was a real highlight. I mean, if you have Disney Plus, even if you don't end up watching the whole thing, I think it might be worth it just to see the ridiculousness train wreck that is Captain America the musical. So that was great. So maybe, you know what? I would not completely write the show off yet. It seemed like there were some parts where they sort of found their moments. I probably will watch the second episode with some skepticism, and if it picks up, and like now they got through all the establishment stuff, like maybe the second episode is written by a different screenwriter than the first one. Fingers crossed. I hope so, and maybe it'll pick up. But right now, this is not a show that I'm ranting and raving about.
Except for you did rant and rave for.
Oh, sorry, in the positive.
Oh, okay. I don't have anything else for this episode. Thanksgiving was yesterday. It was great. Had amazing food, tons of food. Ate some leftovers this morning. Hope everybody else had a good Thanksgiving. Aaron, do you have anything else to add to this episode?
trying to think. You wanted to talk about mixed martial arts stuff, but let's table that. We're at a good spot for this episode.
Yeah, we're
right?
already about an hour, just shy of an hour. That's why, yeah.
Yeah, no, I just really wanted to give a shout out to just all of our Canadian fans. Before this episode, Armando and I had we had latkes. We're getting some different sort of ethnic cuisine. So like maybe next episode we have poutine.
Yeah, Aaron tried to get Kanish, but that place said it was Kanish, and then he shows up, it was latke. So disappointed we didn't have Kanish with the latkes I've never had, and they were good.
But yeah, if you know what,
poutine's good.
If we could have poutine and just some Timmy's.
The fuck is a Timmy?
There is a chain called Tim Hortons that is
I don't know what the
abbreviated
fuck that
to
is.
Timmy's.
I don't know what that is.
Because you're an uncultured savage.
All right.
But that's what I'm saying. So maybe for a loyal Canadian fans, we can educate Mondo on your ways and culture, and instead of latkes, if I can somehow get Tim Hortons shipped to here, that could be a future segment. Armando tries Canadian food.
Hope you guys are enjoying your little Thanksgiving break at home, chilling, relaxing. Hopefully this podcast makes it out before Sunday, but we'll see. I don't know. We'll talk to you guys next week. Enjoy your holiday,